Hey there, I'm Tamika, a Black woman who lives with ADHD and autism, and I'm an HR consultant. I know you weren't expecting to hear that. So I help Black neurodivergent women navigate corporate spaces that weren't built with us in mind, no pun intended. If you've ever felt like you've had to shrink, overperform, or mask just to keep your job or your peace, you're not alone. Been there, done that. And says you're not the problem. So that's why on this channel, I talk real talk about spotting bias in the workplace because it can be sneaky and very nuanced, right? Very subtle. Knowing when it's time to stay or go and how to protect your brilliance without that infamous burnout. So this is about unmasking, reclaiming, and building something for us. And if that speaks to you, let's hit subscribe and let's unmask together. So I recently watched a video, so I want to shout out Plot Twist, please. Say that 10 times fast. And she was talking about work ethic in Black neurodivergent women overachieving, right? And a lot of it, while some of it touched on work, a lot of it was still talking about how we navigate personal lives and how we show up there. And I'm so grateful the video exists, right? It brings a lot of visibility to a conversation we need to be having more often. Because when I go into these spaces, oftentimes they are snow white, right? And little to no representation of us. But as someone who's lived this experience and works in HR, I want to expand the conversation if I can, because there's one huge piece still missing why we're still not safe at work. So I want to give you three reasons why we're still not safe at work so we can continue the conversation and talk about some solutions. Reason number one, most workplaces aren't built for us, just as Black women. Even when companies hire us, they're not equipped to support us and meet me where we are, especially when we identify as neurodivergent. So one of the reasons why that is, and we've likely experienced this, is when you think about a social hierarchy, you think about white men, white women, Black men, then Black women, right? And all the other identities that could come with that called intersectionality, which means as a Black woman, right, I fall closer to the bottom, if not at the bottom of the racial hierarchy. Because I'm a woman, I fall at the lower end of the gender, the gender hierarchy. As someone who lives with multiple disabilities, I fall at the bottom of that totem pole as well. And so when you put all of that together to live as a Black neurodivergent woman, while I stand in my brilliance, it also creates a lot of challenges. And the reality I found is that they want our diversity, but not the reality of our experiences. So that automatically creates challenges for us that other people don't have to encounter. And because so much of this is covered with people who have white identities, oftentimes our experiences are missing from the conversation. There's research that talks about just for on the autistic spectrum, that like 70% of research that's done around this condition is on white men, which means that is a huge gap of our specific symptoms and how we show up and how we present is missing from the conversation. How can you treat what you're not even aware of or you don't acknowledge? So considering who's building these corporate spaces, that's the first reason why we're not safe. Reason number two, masking is required for survival. And if you don't know what masking is,
I didn't get that. Could you try again?
nice. Um, sorry, my phone wanted to interrupt the conversation. So masking is our version of code switching. So if you ever thought about, remember when your mom would be on the phone with someone and then all of a sudden her voice would change? Whether she was talking to someone about business, work, or she was just talking to white people. That voice, that pitch in her voice would go up, right? All of a sudden, she would sound more proper than usual. Think about masking in the same way, and that's not done because we're trying to to purposely hide who we are. For many of us, it's subconscious. So I was not diagnosed the first time with my first condition, ADHD, until I was almost 40, right? And then autism, that diagnosis came later. And all of a sudden, it just put all these pieces together in my life around why I behaved or why I did things a certain way, why I would freak out if I had an oral quiz at school because I was having some executive dysfunction. And so, audible communication was a real struggle for me when it came to taking in and processing what someone was saying to me, or the reason why I would get so nervous if I was asked something on the spot and I wasn't able to prepare ahead of time. And a lot of times it had nothing to do with me not knowing the topic. It was just the fact that for me, um, sometimes in the moment, I would be spot on because my hamster would be on the wheel. And other times it would be off and I would just fall flat. And that wasn't because I wasn't smart, but it was because I needed to work in the ways in which my brain worked. And sometimes situations in corporate spaces don't allow for that. So oftentimes we subconsciously mask as a way to survive and protect ourselves because unfortunately, many people who don't look like us or think like us build these spaces. And then we're looked at in a negative way when we are different or show up differently than everybody else. Masking is tiring. It's like losing pieces of yourself. It's memory lapses, it's emotional exhaustion, and pretending to be on all day just to stay employed. Now, people talk about burnout, and it is a real thing, but this is something so much deeper. It can feel like disappearing in plain sight. So, number two, masking is a problem, and it's an indication we're not safe. And then the third reason, and you might find this one interesting considering what I told you what I do. The third reason why Black neurodivergent women are not safe, are still not safe in corporate America is because of HR. Now, you might be thinking, "Ooh, she went there." Yes, I did, because while I have worked for and with some phenomenal people that I still know and coordinate with and talk with today, I also know the harsh reality is HR is not always the safest space it claims to be. And someone who's worked in HR leadership across various industries, I've seen just about everything. I know how companies can say the right things, but when the rubber hits the road, they still fail to meet us where we are to support us just as Black women, not even to mention adding on the layer of complexity of having a different ability, right? And so at the end of the day, people can write policies, they can write philosophies, they can have these values, they can put all types of people who look and think different ways on all types of marketing material. But at the end of the day, when we go home at the end of the day, whether it be virtual or in person, when we're headed to work or we're having that Sunday night struggle, our body is already telling us what we're experiencing. And that's the reality. I don't care how many awards a company has won, the experience you're having often dictates what that company is doing for you as far as helping you creating a space where it's okay for you to show up to be you. So, yes, the conversation is happening, but we need to go deeper and we need more of a presence. We need to be empowered. And really, in the first step to doing that is talking about what it's costing us to be us at work. So, I'd love to hear from you. So, drop a comment below. Have you ever experienced this in the workplace as a Black neurodivergent woman? Are you still masking to survive? Go ahead and drop those comments. And if this hit home for you, my next video is going to help you spot bias in an interview process before you say yes to a job offer. So be sure to check that out. And if you want deeper support, like for real deeper support, so many people don't understand what their rights are as an employee. They don't know how to navigate these spaces, deciding whether to disclose or not to disclose. If you're getting accommodations, what rights do you have there? I offer coaching for Black neurodivergent women because I want to help us be able to navigate these spaces, whether you decide to stay where you are and it's doable, or you decide it's time to get out the door and go somewhere else. I want to help you unmask in real life. And you can find the description to the link there below. So don't forget to like this video, share it with someone who needs it, and then hit subscribe so you don't miss the next one. And sis, one last thing, you're not too much. You're not alone. Let's unmask together. See you soon.